Pop quiz. Who is responsible for safety out at the range? Now, we're going to answer that in just a minute, but let me tell you a story first. Earlier this year when I was in Texas, which is 2025 for any of you who might be watching this video in the future, I was driving past the local pistol and rifle club to pick up my fiance for lunch. Usually the gate out to that facility is locked tight, so only members can get in to access the range, but for some reason the gate was propped open and I could see dust trails being kicked up from several vehicles moving out to the firing points at a high rate of speed. Now, initially I didn't think too much of it at the time. I figured it was just some members that forgot something down at the firing points and maybe they were going down there to pick it up. So I did what anyone would do. I ignored it and I went to lunch with my fiance. Out of habit, I checked the Facebook group for the range while we were waiting on lunch to find out that one of our members had been bitten by a rattlesnake while they were changing out their zero target. Fortunately, our range had an emergency procedure for that, and the guy wasn't down on the range by himself when the snake bite actually happened, which meant he was able to rapidly get assistance and medical attention for the snake bite. Now, had he been alone and had no contingency been in place for that exact scenario, the situation could have played out a lot different. There's a cosmic law out there that some of you might have heard of. It's called Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If you build defenses against Murphy, you can stem the negative impacts of things going wrong when you're out at the range, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, range safety. First, before we even get out to the range, I want to make sure we're all on the same page with the rules of firearm safety. You've probably heard these or some variation of them before, but this is always worth repeating. The easiest way to remember the rules of weapon safety is by remembering treat, never, keep, keep. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire, and keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. There's also an unwritten fifth rule, which is know your target and what's behind it. Now, you might have heard some variation on these rules. Over the years, people have come up with dozens of different ways of saying these same 5 sentences. Sometimes they change the order based on how they perceive their importance. Sometimes they even change the verbiage to make the rules more all-encompassing. I've heard arguments about removing the rule that says you should always keep your weapon on safe because some firearms don't have an internal manual of safety. At the end of the day, knowing and mastering these simple firearm safety rules is going to ensure that you are safe when you are handling a firearm, no matter what order they're set in. If you want a bit more information on these safety rules, check out this awesome video from John Lovell over at the Warrior Poet Society. He nails it. Now, that doesn't really answer our pop quiz question though, does it? Who is responsible for safety out at the range? Guys, bottom line, everyone is responsible for firearm safety at the range. Let me repeat that for you guys in the back of the class. You, yes, even you, Greg, are responsible for firearm safety out at the range. Let's break this down a little bit more, because everyone as a safety officer is more than just some catchy phrase that you should be saying during the range safety brief. It's the foundation of keeping the range safe at all times. The range safety officer and the safety team only have so many eyes. So that means you, me, the guy next to you, and even the folks watching from behind the firing line are responsible for range safety as well. Even according to official guidelines from organizations like the US military and the NRA, safety isn't something that you just delegate out to a few people. It's a shared duty for everyone that's on the range. If you see something sketchy, like someone muzzle sweeping the wrong way or fumbling around with a firearm, you don't have to wait for permission to speak up. Call it out immediately in a tactful manner and make sure that everyone stops what they're doing to address the problem. Now, within that shared responsibility, there's a key player, the range safety officer or the RSO. These guys are trained specifically to oversee operations and enforce the rules. And in the NRA's official program, an RSO's roles include inspecting the range before use, establishing standard operating procedures, handling firearm stoppages or malfunctions that the shooter can't, and ensuring everyone follows the rules to prevent accidents. We'll get a bit more into these guys and their job just a little bit later. Don't think the RSO does it all alone though. That's where individual checks come in. Each shooter has to take personal accountability. Before you even step onto the firing line, do a self-check. Is all of your gear in order? Do you have your eye and ear protection on? Is your weapon cleared and unsafe? Military procedures emphasize that individuals must know their weapon's condition and understand their misfire procedures and even inspect their own ammo for defects. These aren't bad guidelines for us civilians to follow either. There's a reason people who work with guns for a living and as a profession do it this way. Report any issues right away. Don't try to fix a jam quietly if it could endanger others or if it's outside of your current skill set. For beginners, this means double checking everything, and for us experienced guys, it's about staying disciplined even when you're in the zone training. Remember that snake bite story? That guy wasn't a novice shooter, and he knew about the rattlesnake threat out of the range, but it was his buddy's quick action that saved the day. Group dynamics can make or break range safety too, especially on a busy range. It doesn't matter if it's a training class, a competition, or if you're just out with your friends. The group has to cohesively function and think about safety together. That means clear communication when it comes to safety and watching out for each other. If you're just getting into the competition sphere, for example, you might hear from another shooter about safety precautions for your specific range that you didn't know about. Take it in stride and don't let your ego get in the way of solid advice. That other shooter might be seeing something that you don't, or they might have information about the range facilities that you didn't have access to before you got there. This extends to respecting lane boundaries and avoiding distractions like horseplay. Safety thrives when the group reinforces the rules together. Now, I want to circle back to range safety officers for a minute. We've all been on ranges or in scenarios where an RSO isn't present. Some of you watching this might not have ever shot with one on the range, but they're a key player, and I want to zoom in on it so that you have a solid grasp of what their job is and what they do. First, what is a range safety officer? An RSO is basically the guardian of the range. Their whole purpose is ensuring everything runs smoothly and safely all day long. These are folks with the knowledge, skills, experience, and attitude to organize, conduct, and supervise shooting activities. Their main gig is overseeing safety from start to finish. That means inspecting the range pre-shooting to make sure the targets are safe, enforcing the rules so all of the shooters stay accountable, and stepping in for malfunctions or stoppages where shooters can't fix it on their own. In short, an RSO's job is to prevent accidents and keep the experience positive for everyone. If you're new to ranges, you can usually identify these guys pretty easily. They're probably going to be wearing a high visibility clothing of some type, or have clear labels or special lanyards indicating what their position on the range is. If you're at a public range or club, there's likely going to be a centralized location where the RSO is stationed to give them a clear view of all the shooters in the firing line. And if you're at an event, this person and their team are likely going to be the ones standing at the front of the range during the day's safety brief. Worst case scenario, if you don't know who the RSO is, just ask someone. And no, an RSO isn't just any random person. There's at least 7 major US civilian organizations that certify them. The National Rifle Association, the United States Concealed Carry Association, the Civilian Marksmanship Program, the United States Practical Shooting Association, the International Defensive Pistol Association, the National Sporting Clay Association, and the National 4-H Shooting Sports Club. And guys, these programs vary. Some focus on competitions while others focus on youth or general ranges, but all hammer home safety rules, management, and emergencies. And those certification programs are all centric to where the RSO lives and works every single day. Plus, on top of that, most local clubs are going to add their own tailored training on top of these qualifications to make sure that the RSO knows everything that they're doing. Oh, and if you guys are a certified RSO, let us know down in the comments which one of those organizations you thought was the best and which one was the most useful for you. Now, we've talked a lot about the hows and whos of range safety, but let's get to the heart of it. Why is all of this paramount? Why not just wing it and hope for the best? First, let's shine a light on what happens when negligent practices creep in. We're talking avoidable stuff like ignoring muzzle disciplines, skipping gear checks, or horsing around in the firing line. According to recent stats, there were about 1,457 unintentional firearms-related injuries in 2024 alone, with 30% of them being fatal. Guys, that's 438 lives lost to accidents that could have been prevented. At ranges specifically, negligent discharges can lead to everything from minor wounds to catastrophic misfires. Legally, you're looking at misdemeanors or felonies and fines of up to thousands of dollars. You can lose your gun rights. There could be civil lawsuits or worse, possibly jail time if it escalates to something like manslaughter. Remember our rattlesnake story? That was nature's curveball, but human negligence, that's on us, guys. We have to own it. If you skip the basics, a fun day at the range could put you into a case study on why you should always keep medical gear on hand. And no one wants to be that guy. Flip the script. When you prioritize safety, the benefits are huge. It builds trust among people on the range. Knowing that everyone there has your back means that you can focus on improving without worrying about the shooter in the bay next to you is doing. That trust extends to ranges too. Safe operations keep facilities open and welcoming, encouraging more folks to join in responsibly. It enhances the fun factor too when no one's stressing about a stray round or forgotten ear pro, which can improve the quality of your local shooting community by a lot. Zoom out to the 10,000-foot view and the broader impact is clear. When we lead with safety, we show the world that shooting is about skill, fun, and responsibility. It counters the common anti-gun narrative that more guns equal less safety, and it leads to an improved public perception of firearms and firearms culture as a whole. If you want to learn more about how to run a successful range day, check out this video. In the description, we've got a link to resources that you can use to ensure you're always being safe. And down in the comments, let me know if there's something you did to improve safety on your local range. We'll see you in the next one.